Finish him.
Welcome to Hitman Boxing. Hit that like and subscribe button. I'm back with another video. Lennox Lewis, just giving his opinion, or is he sack riding? You know, Lennox Lewis has had issues with Anthony Joshua for a long time. He doesn't seem to like Anthony Joshua. You know, there are some people out there, I'm not included in this, but a lot of people make comparisons to Lennox Lewis and Anthony Joshua. Again, I'm not one of those people, but a lot of people like to compare and contrast the two, or to a point where it's like, oh, well, Anthony Joshua's the next Lennox Lewis. Well, pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. Now, Lennox Lewis, again, of course, has had this outstanding beef with Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua has mentioned that Lennox Lewis tried to sign him in the past, and he didn't want to do that, so he's been bashing him throughout his career. Now, Lennox Lewis has been giving a lot of props to Andy Ruiz, which is well-deserved because Andy Ruiz did dethrone Anthony Joshua, took his belts and his girl, to coin a phrase from Adrian Broner. But Lennox Lewis just got to stop, man. I will get into the statement, man, but it's a little too not PG-ish, because you know how YouTube is now. I got to find a new platform so I can get my profanity out. But in the meantime, let's find a decent quote to read off here. Here's one. This is from Lennox Lewis. I'm not sure, because he's talking to his ex-trainer, Freddie. He's trained Ruiz, and he's always said, you know, when Ruiz loses weight, he's not as good. I don't know. I say if he loses weight, he's quicker, but still punches hard. So he's making that comment because Andy Ruiz came in the first fight at 268 pounds. That was for the first fight, and now he's around, according to this, 247. Wait. Well, actually, my bad. So let's rephrase that. Andy Ruiz is expected to come in lighter than he did in the first fight. First fight, he was at 268. Also, Anthony Joshua seemingly has dropped some weight, potentially making him more mobile. But, I mean, you know, I'm not sure if that's going to be the best idea for either of these guys. In Andy Ruiz's case, if it's not broke, why try to fix it? You've been fighting fat your entire career, so why try to slim down? Anthony Joshua, you know, I would think that him losing that excess weight could help because he's super stiff and just mad predictable. But, you know, we'll see if that has any impact on the fight. Now back to Lennox Lewis. You know, he's a Hall of Famer, man. So when he speaks, I've got to listen. You know, he feels like Andy Ruiz is probably going to win the rematch. At this point, I say it's a 50-50 fight. Heavy favorite to Andy Ruiz. You know, we've heard all these reports of Anthony Joshua getting tuned up in sparring, but, you know, we hear these reports every year about him getting beat up in sparring by everybody. So, I mean, he's only got one loss on his record. So, going up against Andy Ruiz, it's time for him to get some redemption. If he loses the fight, he's got a problem. It looks like Lennox Lewis is riding with Andy Ruiz to win in the rematch. You know, he mentioned that he's seen Ruiz fight in the past, and he just heard his punches. They sounded thudding and just super powerful. We can't take that away from Andy Ruiz. He's got some really good hand speed, and he does punch hard. So we'll see what happens with him and Anthony Joshua. You know, again, this is such a tough fight to call, man. You know, whether you're Lennox Lewis, a Hall of Famer, or whether you've got a YouTube channel, it's a very difficult fight to call, man. We don't know where Anthony Joshua's head is at. You know, I suspect that it's not in a good place. Personally, if I took an L at something, you know, that's all I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about how to redeem myself. But when I hear these interviews with Anthony Joshua, it doesn't seem like it's bothering him too much, or maybe he's just not showing it in these interviews. But, you know, he's got to be dreaming about Andy Ruiz. He's got to be shook. But for him to beat Andy Ruiz, would tell a lot. It would tell us that he's got heart, because a lot of people question his heart. Lennox Lewis is another guy who questions the guy's heart. So does Anthony Joshua have what it takes to beat Andy Ruiz in a rematch? Lennox Lewis feels he does. I'm conflicted. I'm 50-50. I'm at a crossroads here, with all the reports about Joshua in sparring. But again, those can be debunked. He gets beat up in sparring every year. So it is what it is. Lennox Lewis, I'm glad you shaved your head. There was a point where you was rocking like the half baldy George Jefferson look. And then, you had a couple of braids dangling off the back of the head, and you finally decided to cut them off and do the baldy. Props to you for doing that, because when you're on live television, man, you don't need to be looking like a crackhead. Hitman Boxing, drop a comment, like the video, subscribe. What do you guys think about Lennox Lewis's comments to Anthony Joshua, Andy Ruiz? Does he make sense? Do you go along with what he's saying? I'll leave a link in the description to the article. You can go ahead and read it. It's a decent read. I'm out.